continuing with the presentation, I'd like to introduce one of our guest speakers. His name is Mike Sauls. Mike is a 25-year career veteran of the armed forces. Upon his military retirement, he became a veteran support advocate, assisting other veterans and military families as they deal with the complicated avenues of obtaining earned benefits and compensation. His community work extends from working with homeless veteran causes, advocating for disabled veterans in employee mediation sessions, supporting veterans at disability hearings, and fighting for fair and comprehensive veteran administration health care distribution to veterans. Mike and his business partner, disabled veteran Jerry Dilworth, launched two companies, Veterans Diversified LLC, a procurement and contracting firm, and Veterans to Veterans Claims Agency, LLC, a veteran military family VA disability claim support agency. Please hear him as he comes.
How's everybody doing? Great. Man, we thank everybody for coming out. The room is filled. I was just asking, what's the fire code? How many people can get in here before the fire marshal? And so we're working on that answer because I was told maybe 70 people, 100 people. So next time we expect to have 100 people here. So this is good information. How many veterans we have? All right. How many disabled veterans we have? How many SDVOSBs do we have? Oh man, yeah, we gotta get some more SDVOSBs. That's the way to go. That's what this information is about. You heard the story about me, but what we're gonna do is real quick, 6 steps to service connection compensation for VA disability. Now, we know that just for SDVOSB, this is what you're gonna need. That disability that gets accounted to when you go out to the, you said Veteran First? Vet First, right. When you go up to those pages, actually begin to shape it up. Now, I'm going to go through the 6 steps. We normally do this at every quarter. I kind of do this thing with Berea Church. What's the?
Berea Christian Church, yes.
Berea Christian Church. They invite me out every quarter. I get out. And normally this is a 3-hour session that we go through. And so you're going to get the 20-minute version of it. Because I have 1,000 stories because I've been doing this for 9 years. And we know that some work we do is business. Contractors that I've met are actually in the business of doing business. And this is my passion work. So it's a business, but it's really my passion work when you're able to give back. And I was explaining to folks that I had the good life in Germany when I retired in 2008 and had no intentions on coming back here. But I did come back here. I met some homeless veterans, and this is what got this started. So normally when you start with step 1, you want to file your VA claim for disability. That's the VA form 526EZ, and it's not really a complex form, and sometimes veterans will tell me that the government makes it more complex for you to see how much staying power you had to stick with it to get to where you want to go. But it's really real easy because you really want to make sure they have information to be able to contact you versus the issues that you are claiming that you believe that are that you injured yourself or that are service connected. And the big thing is about being service connected. So real quick, your injury must have occurred during your military service or aggravated. And so we got stories that we can tell about folks who may have been injured prior to coming in the military. Just as we just saw the news today, the Army is going to start accepting former mentally, I want to say that right, mentally ill folks.
We call them CAT Corps, right? CAT Corps.
Say it.
Those are the people that previously were qualified as category 4 unacceptable. Now
Exactly. So now they're going to change that to get the recruits up, and so those folks will come in, and they will have already been diagnosed as having had something former in their life that they had and maybe overcame, coming to the military, and then if it becomes aggravated by service, they'll be able to apply for a VA disability. Now, the evidence has to be located in your service treatment record, so that military record is going to be important. And then, if you got that bad conduct, dishonorable discharge, we say that you won't qualify for that right now, but if you go through that process to upgrade it, because there were some things that were erroneously done to you, you can upgrade it and then qualify for the benefits. Step 2, the VA will either deny or approve your claim. And so mostly deny, but sometimes you get approved. A lot of folks think that it's a real easy process, but it becomes complex, and when you start reading that letter, that based on all those things and reasons why they deny. And so, and I've seen it in the 9 years that I've done it, where I've helped the veteran actually go through their medical records, and we turn them in, and then they get denied because they say no medical record. So we know that we turn them in, and so you deny them for something that we know is dead. And that's why we go through all the 6 steps. Now, the reasons are not always absolute and final, so there's always a due process that you have to go through. And the recommendation is to make sure that when you disagree with why they denied you, you have some merit to it. When you get to step 3, you're going to do the notice of disagreement, and that's when you basically say, hey guys, I disagree with why you denied me for these reasons. You get a year to do that. The key area of that is that you want to make sure that you know each issue. If you put 12 issues in and you disagree with 12 issues, speak to those 12 issues. Don't add a 13th, don't add a 14th issue. Stick with that. You gotta keep them methodical and strategic. And so this is the first part of the appeal. We got little terms that we use in our company where we say this is the front side of the appeal because it's a long process. And so sometimes we get stuck with asking veterans, well, you're in the front side or you're on the back side, and they don't really know it. But when you file your claim, this is the first part of the appeal, and you shouldn't assume that it's the final. It's a whole process. Step 4, the VA issues you a statement of the case. What the VA is going to do when you send in your notice of disagreement, they're going to tell you all the legal reasons why they denied your claim. Some of them will apply to you, some won't, but they say it's a standard letter that they have to send you with all these reasons. You'll see some that don't even apply to you, but it's great information to read and learn. The statement of the case, that's critical because when you reply back to them, you want to actually note that information that they're giving you there. That's if you're going to give yourself the strategic edge when you go before that veteran law judge. You want to make sure that you keep it straight to why they denied you and your issue that you was denied for. The VA claim disability issues addressed should only be, make sure that's only. That's so important, and a lot of folks miss out on that step. Step 5, you want to file a request for a BVA hearing. After the statement of the case, you immediately put in that Form 9 and you say, I want to go before a veteran law judge. What the VA will offer you, what the VA has done, is the VA has come up with what they call a decision review officer. The decision review officer, do we have it in here before I talk about it? Decision review officer, great Americans they are. They are great Americans, they work at the VA, they're working for the home team. What they have given them the power to do is to be able to overturn what someone else may have said in terms of denying. And so what they're supposed to do is look at the evidence that you present. You bring, same thing a judge does. They just don't have all of the skill sets that a judge haven't seen it. But a decision review officer, or DRO is what we call them, has the power to actually do that. Now, Mike chooses never to go before a decision review officer. I've been in front of 5 of them, and they have all been great Americans. They nod their head. Some of them has even shown me stuff that I didn't know that was in that claim that we're speaking about. But in the 120 days when they come back, they always concur, I say, with the buddy who denied you that they go to lunch with every day when they're in the same business. So I say don't do the decision review officer. The veteran law judge has all the skill sets. And they say 99% of those veteran law judges are for the veteran and the disability. What we fail to do as disabled veterans, we do not match our evidence up that we're talking about with the issues. And so you're going to lose there because a lot of veterans, and I see them all the time, I've done this 9 years, they'll go, like this Veterans Day just passed and folks will, I've seen folks that go buy the BDU jackets from Vietnam or the OD Green, and they line up at Golden Corral, and we don't know that they're veterans because they don't check the DD 214, but you see everybody go get that. But when you see some veterans who are taught by these lawyers, they go grab that information from the surplus store, and then they walk up in that hearing room, and they attempt to tell the long story about what happened to them. And you can tell great stories, and they can tug at the heart of that veteran law judge, but where's the evidence? You got to have the evidence. And so a lot of times, that's the same strategy that some of these attorneys are grabbing folks to do, or some veterans are going to do. So you don't want that to happen. You want to actually have your evidence match exactly, and you want it to be new and material evidence that speak to the severity of your issue right now. We got that you got shrapnel on your leg back in Vietnam, but what is wrong with that leg today? And you got to have the evidence connect that way. Nothing extra. Step 6, when you go before that VA hearing, don't do like my guys do with the old BDU jackets and all of that. You just ensure that your evidence is applicable to those injuries that are in question. What the judge will tell you at the veteran law judge will tell you at a VA hearing, he will or she will say, I am here to hear these things. And so normally they set the tone. I'm doing A, B, C, and D. And so you get an hour, and so everything that you're going to pack into that hour, you go in there and talk about, C, D, E, F. He's not really listening to that. You're taking your time to do that, but he's only focused on those few things that he's going to actually, or she's going to actually make a decision on. You get an hour to serve it. If you're good like me, you take about 20 minutes, because I will never go before a veteran law judge without all the evidence lined up. And so all we're going to speak is to the evidence, and I'm going to have everything ready and lined up, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, all those good kind of things. The severity of your injury is what counts. That's what the judge is going to look for. How bad is it? Because you can't measure a percentage. Everybody talks about getting this 100%, 10%, and that kind of stuff. The severity of the injury has to be able to be measured, or there has to be a baseline. A judge can't form a baseline if you're talking about you got injured here and you just walked in with a cane. That doesn't measure no severity of it. So your evidence have to speak to that. Normally you go to a physician, independent, that's able to do what they call a disability benefits questionnaire, another form with a battery of tests that when they send you to VA, Lockheed Martin has one of the contracts with it. It's a VA directed physician, then you're actually going to do the same DBQ. You can do independent, which I always recommend because it's a little different from somebody who has a contract from the VA. So veterans have been through the process, and we have these urban legends and these beliefs that everybody's in cahoots, and they kind of working together because sometimes the way the evidence is spelled out, we do have some folks who do have a fair setting, but in any operation, you're going to always have folks who just get through the process without adding all the key information in, and we do know that nobody is held accountable in terms of that. You have to go through the same due process to go before a judge to have that straightened out. The veteran law judge listens to and records the hearing, and then what he or she will do, he will remand back to the VA with a decision, with special instructions, or he'll say, service connection. He'll send it back with service connection. I did that in like, how many minutes? These references, if you want to use these references, and we can go into more detail at another time. Do I introduce the next person, or someone will come up and?
I mean, you've got 5 minutes if
You can do Q&A if you
your
want.
questions,
So,
yeah.
real quick questions, nothing long, and I'll promise not to tell any long stories about these issues asked about. No quick questions?
Is there a certain percentage, like let's say, so I know say you're applying for a federal job, 30% rate gives you more points than 20%. Does that affect contracts as well?
Yeah, is it 10% that gets you in the door for SDVOSB?
No, just 1%.
30%. So 30%.
1%.
Yeah, any
1%. But
certificate
SDVOSB,
for SDVOSB
yeah, there's no
certification.
such thing as 1%. You're either going to get 10, 20, 30
Yeah,
to get
As long as you have a
you
rating.
any percent.
that rating. Yeah,
yes.
you need that
As long as you
rating.
have any amount of rating, you can still they'll get your veteran certification.
Right, you put that, because they're going to cross-reference it, that's why they put that with the VA, is because what they're going to do is cross-reference it with what your issues are, what your disabilities are, and that you do legitimately have that. E-benefits is a great source to print those letters off. With your percentages, you go out to e-benefits, set up your account. If you are a veteran, it will pull all your information from where's cashed at, and it will set you up an account where you'll be able then to print out VA letters with the DOD seal and signature of the director for the benefits in Washington.
I'm interested in finding out, I'm supposed to apply for this MST. I've been waiting to actually submit that. I did do an intent to file, but when I fill out the little document and fax it in, they sent me a letter back saying, we don't have your military record, your military SDRs.
Right.
I'm like, so where are they? You know what I mean?
So there's many ways to get it. I'm not going to do the whole spiel, but if you go with me offline, I can tell you 3 ways that you can actually get them. But the way that I use is I'm good friends with Senator Johnny Isaacson office. And so great senators, great congressmen and congress folks we have, but the ones that have veterans that sit in their office that know you when you come in, know veteran stuff, that's the office that I push to, because it's not the senator or the congressman that's doing that. But it's they put the weight of that office behind it, but it's actually those people, that staff that actually know how to do it. But I can get with you offline and tell you just how to do it. But here's the key thing: fax, mailing to the VA to expect things to happen. Just like with anything, that's not the way to do it. Face to face with a person, get a date stamp to be able to prove what you have, because when you go in front of the veteran lawyer and somebody says that you never turned it in, you need to be able to prove that you turned it in. That's the retro pay, when you have to be paid back to a certain day. That's key and important. One more question and then we're going to close it out. All right, that's it. I'm Mike Sauls and I'll be here for the rest of the evening.
All right, well, this time we're going to, we have some very special guests here tonight. And I'm gonna ask these business owners to come and share their stories of what they've learned. So they're gonna answer 2 questions. A recipe for their success, and then a challenge that they have to overcome in the government market. And so we have 5 companies. And so I'm gonna have, in this order, so one after each other, just come and share a little bit about your company, what's your recipe for success, and what are some challenges that you have to overcome in the government space, so that all of our veteran business, all the other businesses can kind of learn from your success and failures in some ways. So I'm gonna have Thomas Whitaker come up, and I'm gonna have Richard Tibbetts with Pegasus Support Services. I'm gonna have Jim with the Gen Group. He is not here tonight. And then I'm gonna have Fred Williams and Ken to come up here and share their stories a little bit. And then we're gonna have Roger House with Axel come and share also. So let's go in this order. So I'm gonna have Tom come and just share a little bit about your business and what have you learned in the government space. Let's give Tom a big hand.
My name is Thomas Whitaker. They call me Plumber Tom. I own Thomas Whitaker Services Incorporated. I've been in business since 2000. I've had up to 10 employees, and I'll be very honest with you, I'm down to 1 myself. How many people in here have yet to do a government contract? Okay, so I'm in the category that Dave calls working pay bills. And I need to let you know that because when I came in here, I had a false illusion about what GCA is about. And I joined, and 2 weeks later, I'm upset because I didn't have a government contract. I mean, it's funny now, but I was that desperate to find a new way. But since coming in, I got with the certification officer, and not only did we certify, get me certifications, I have a DBE, I have a veteran-owned small business certification, I have a minority business enterprise certification. But those things right there are useless if you don't have the paperwork as to how we got here to back them up when somebody wants to review your company to see if you're worthy of a contract. So we even went further back and documented all my tax history, all my employment history, everything, all the way back to the incorporation of my company. I bought a corporate kit. All my corporate papers are in order. But just to let you know, I left a franchise company called Mr. Rooter and Roto-Rooter, everybody heard of them, in 1999, mainly because I got tired of being expected to be one of those plumbers who's going to go out there and charge you $809 for a $300 job, only because I was a better salesman than the guy who could only get $200. So what I did is I stepped out. No business license, no plumbing license. I had a toolbox and a pickup truck. And within 1 year, I went out and got a journeyman's license. Another year after that, I got a master's license. And I also took the unrestricted plumber's license at the same time, passed all the master's tests. And in 2000, I had the highest plumbing license you could get. But that didn't mean nothing. I didn't have any experience. So what I did is, slowly but surely, I built up my business. And I'll be honest, I used personal credit, borrowed money, did everything to stay above water. And right now, I have reached a point where all my 10, 15 years of flip-flopping in debt and stuff will all be rectified, and I can probably get business credit anywhere I want. And I tell you, the only reason I'm standing here, and sometimes it's a hindrance, is that I'm stubborn. I don't know how to give up, but see, the problem with that is when you run across somebody who knows more than you, sometimes it's hard to sit back and let somebody tell you how to make that change to get to the other side. And I'll be honest with you, I got a swift kick by this lady back here named Myra Assistant. She sat me down and told me, you know what, this is a process. So I'm in the process of getting to the other side. And I have taken every step they've asked me to do. I have not taken any shortcuts. And I think one of the biggest things that anybody can do is to give a record of all your flip-flops and failures in the financial, banking, how you got that, where you got it, how you paid it off, how many times your business failed, how it hit zero, had 50 cents, you know, but I kept going, and I'll be honest, this is not bragging, but I have a home out in the country in Pecula. I have my business out there, married family, the whole 9 yards, and I did all that just because I didn't give up. But I do not want to finish just living to pay bills. And that's where these people have come into my life. And they've taught me to do just what this man here is saying is, you can talk that good show, but where's the paperwork? And without the paperwork, all else is futile. And I'm going to sit down now because I think that I told everybody that, hey, you know, I just didn't give up. And I really believe in the next year or so that I will be making that step to the other side because I'll have Tom Whitaker in check to where when they ask for the certifications, they ask for the paperwork, and they ask for the eligibility for the money, they're gonna say, yeah. And that's it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Rick Tibbetts. I'm the president of Pegasus Support Services. We're a government contractor, obviously. We do base operations, logistics services. Started the company in 2011. Took a flying leap off the cliff into the government contracting world. Learned a lot of lessons along the way. It's been 6 years now, and we currently have 7 prime government contracts. I've got, last count, I think it was 160 some odd employees in 5 different states. So we've been fairly successful in the government contracting world. We've learned a lot of lessons along the way. Wanted to lay out a couple of items that said that, what's your recipe for success, if you will. Just like Mr. Whitaker there, one of the first ones, got to be all in. Somebody once said, I don't know who it was, a lot smarter person than me, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. You can't do it halfway. So, you got to be all in, and you got to have your heart and soul in it. I would tell you that if the only reason you're in business is to make money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Okay? Particularly in the government contracting world, everybody thinks it's a golden goose out there, but unless you really have the passion in your heart to continue to support the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Department of Defense civilians out there, then you're doing it for the wrong reason. Be persistent. Like Mr. Whitaker there said, you've got to be stubborn, you got to keep after it, you've got to visit these contracting folks over and over again, and sometimes it seems futile, but you just have to be persistent and stay out of it. Do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Not try to do the right thing. Do the right thing. It's hard. And do the right thing for your employees. Do the right thing for your customers. Sometimes that hits you in the pocket. But again, that's when you have to do the right thing. Planning for responsible growth. We had a little discussion about this early on. I hope everyone in here that is looking to get a government contract, or in many government contracts, grows to be, a $50, $100, $150 million company. But you got to start planning now strategically to make sure you position yourself to be able to get there. And it's a matter of planning so that you're not overextending yourself to when you do get that contract, you're able to perform it and you're able to do it. Challenge, having the capital, finding the right capital to be able to, be prepared when you do win that first contract. I think everybody has those issues. And as I was telling the group a little bit earlier, I started our first contract, which was a $10 million contract, in 30 days with a stack of personal credit cards like this. You don't want to have to do that. That's all I have. Thank you.
of Level 3 Associates. Level 3 Associates is a non-destructive testing business. A lot of people say, what's that? So what it is, it's exactly what our name says. We test and inspect different aircraft parts and components, Department of Defense parts, missiles and whatnot. We look for flaws and defects to make sure that whatever the product that they're making is going to perform like they expect. I started my business 2008, so same time Obama took office. I said, this is a good start, maybe I can hire him. But also, the economy was tanking big time. All the banks were closing, people were losing their homes. I'm trying to start a business. But anyway, we did. I started the business in 2008. I went to a gentleman who was in the industry as well, and I wanted to talk to him about business because I didn't know anything about business. I knew how to do the work, but I didn't know anything about business because I've never been to college a day in my life. So, but I'm an ex-Air Force veteran, so I took all the experience and knowledge that I had and decided to go into business for myself. I took a leap of faith, like he said. I didn't have any plans. I wanted to just work from home, just for myself. About 5 customers, no employees, no responsibilities, no nothing. But it didn't turn out that way. So now we're up to about 25 employees. My Vice President and Human Resources Director up here at the table with me. My VP came and started with me my first year when we first started. I asked him to come and work with me. He already had a job with benefits, sick leave, all that. I couldn't offer him nothing. I couldn't even tell him he was going to be working 2 weeks from now. But he left anyway. He said, I've been working with you for years. I know how you work. I know how you get down, so I'm going to come over. He left everything he had. He came over and joined over me. And here we are 9 years later. Also going on 10. So it's been a good ride. We've learned a lot of things. We've grown over the years. We are doing some government contract work. Sometimes be careful what you ask for. With that, okay? It can be challenging, getting to work, like he just said, especially when you're starting up. You get all excited and want to get these big contracts, and then they give them to you, and then they say, you ready? Go. You got like 30 days till you're ready. And then you don't have any money to get ready. Okay? So that's a challenge that we've learned and that we've learned to work with the government on. So now we have about 3 contracts now with the government and trying to get more. And so it's been really good. So I encourage all you guys, like Mr. Whitaker said, hang in there, don't give up. There's been times when we've had issues as far as payroll goes, where the bank has called me and said, you got 2 hours to have $50,000 in the bank. 2 hours. I'm looking at the clock, watching each tick down. But we made it in those 2 hours. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this. It's too stressful. But it's been very good. It's been very rewarding. My son works with me. We have a small company, like I said, we're up to about 25 employees. It's like a family atmosphere, and so it's been very rewarding and challenging. So I encourage all of you to keep going, don't give up, like he said. Keep pressing toward the dream. One thing that I stood on, that I believed in as a spiritual man, is I always believed before I started my business that I would never be given my own until I worked for somebody else's like it was my own. And that's the way I applied myself when I was working for other people. So it's transferred over to what I'm doing now. So that's all I have. If you have any questions,
Now, we had 2 other veteran businesses, and as you guys know, that as a business in the government market, you answer the call, right? And so when a contracting office wants to meet with you, you drop everything and go. So the Ginn Group with Jim Ginn, he cannot be here tonight, even though he knew that he was a finalist to receive the Better Business of the Year. He had to be in Alabama, so unfortunately he is not here with us tonight. And Roger House with Accent Corporation, he was in DC doing work up there, and he dropped everything to come down to Atlanta to be part of this event tonight. But his plane had engine trouble, so they had to divert him to Tennessee, and so he's in Chattanooga right now. He just emailed me, said, hey, I want to be there, but I'm in Chattanooga, I can't get there. So maybe a different time to get to hear their stories. But at this time, what I want to do is I want to present, and we want to honor veteran businesses. And so I'm going to have Myra come up here. And the first award we're going to give out is the Member of the Month for GCA. And so as a member of the association, sometimes you come here and you're looking for us to give to you. But it is really rewarding when we receive from you as well. And so this gentleman has been a great member of the association. He comes out to our events to support us. He's been a great ambassador of the association. And so every single month going forward, this is the first ever Member of the Month award that we're going to be giving. And so we're going to honor Mr. Tom Whitaker with Thomas Whitaker Services. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, by the way, I want to thank Pam, my wardrobe consultant. I was in the ditch fixing a water line, and she said, do not get out of the ditch, get in that van and come straight to this ditch. I didn't have any reason why.
So this is the first Pillar Awards that we've ever handed out in GCA history. And part of what we're trying to do is, sometimes in the future, we want to have a big black tie gala, and we're going to have a big award, and we're going to give out all kinds of awesome fancy awards. But this is a humbling start. And so this is the first Pillar Awards. So Tom, you are the first recipient of the Pillar Awards given out by GCA. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our Better Business of the Year. Now there are so many amazing better businesses out there, and we want to honor so many out there. And we narrowed down to 4 finalists. And so tonight I'm going to present the first 3 finalists, and then I'm going to present the Better Business Award at the end. So to start us off, I'm going to announce the company that's going to be the first recipient of the Pillar Awards given out by GCA as finalists to Better Business of the Year is Mr. Richard Tibbetts with Pegasus Support Services. Come on up. Now, all these businesses that are receiving these awards, they have won millions in contracts. So if you're here tonight, make sure you get a chance to meet them afterwards, exchange business cards. They want to share their experiences with you. They want to share their stories with you. So make sure you get a chance to meet them afterwards. This next person here, as I announced earlier, the Ginn Group. Jim is not here tonight, and so I'm going to ask another veteran, Henry Jones. He's going to come and receive this award on behalf of the Ginn Group. And then we've got another awesome company that has been a great member of the association, has given so much to our community, but also in the government contracting community. And so the next finalist for Veteran Business of the Year is Level 3 Associates, Mr. Fred Williams. Please come on up. And the Veteran Business of the Year goes to Accent Corporation, Mr. Roger House. Unfortunately, his plane was diverted to Tennessee. He was coming here because he knew he was a finalist, and he's from Atlanta, but he's often in DC doing business up there. So I'm going to ask Mr. Mike Saltz to come and receive the award on his behalf. So what we want to do is every month we're going to be giving out a Member of the Month. And if you're curious of how you might be chosen, just run your business, do your things. Fall in love with the government contracting market and build a community around you and just do your thing and you'll be noticed. And so being a great ambassador for the industry, be a great ambassador for your own company, and you will be noticed. At this time here, I want to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. This is Ms. Prudence Howard. She was named the Director of Contracting for Network Contracting Office on July 2013. Ms. Howard oversees the Network Contracting Office, managing the acquisition operations that support, advance, and accomplish the patient care mission of Network. She is responsible for coordinating acquisitions to establish and implement national, regional, and network goals and objectives. After she retired from the U.S. Navy in 2008, Ms. Howard held acquisition leadership positions with the National Criminal Investigation Services, or better known as NCIS, the Fleet Logistics Center, Jacksonville. Ms. Howard has over 25 years of experience in acquisition, finance, and logistics. Everybody, please welcome Ms. Howard.
Good evening. I'd like to first thank you guys at GCA for having me. This is my first time, hopefully won't select. How many of you have government contracts with the VA right now? Do you have them with Network 7 here? Okay. So today we're just going to go over a quick overview of what we buy, what it means to be procurement ready. I'm staying out from the crowd. In Kingdomware, for some of you that probably heard it and have probably either positively or negatively been affected by it, how to adjust to the current small business climate, taking advantage of increased opportunities and our small business engagement, and some of the resources that we have for veteran-owned small businesses. So for me, as a director of contracting, I cover 3 states, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina, and we're considered Network 7. So this is pretty much what we buy. We buy anything and everything that assists and support the Department of Veterans Affairs, the medical centers, the hospitals to run. So everything that except IT. So local offices in your town, we don't buy IT. The Technical Acquisition Center actually does become the tech. They actually buy IT. So we even purchase prosthetics for our veterans. Procurement ready, that's a laundry list. And the greatest thing about GCA is GCA can help you with being procurement ready. You have to have some kind of performance history, capability, SAM registration, DUNS number, FPDS account, a laundry list of things. You can go to the local PTAC, Georgia Tech, they can help you as well. How to stand out from the crowd. I tell everybody, do the 3 things great, but don't try to do 10 to 20 things. So you've got to always explain how you're unique, how you're different. When you're in the room with a procurement decision maker, you want to start out with that. Tell me who you are and how you're unique in 3 minutes. Get your elevator pitch down to 3 minutes, because the odds are I don't have time to sit down and have a full conversation with you. And there's a lot of times these events, you've got a whole lot more people. So I tell everybody 3 minutes. Tell me how you're unique in 3 minutes. And the thing of it is, be ready to already know what I've got in the pipeline. Because if you don't know when my requirements are coming up, you're kind of too late. So again, explain your needs, why your firm is better positioned to help us. Kingdomware. Is anybody familiar with Kingdomware? Okay. So again, what we do at the VA is we really focus on service disabled and veteran-owned small businesses. And one time, we would go direct to a service disabled veteran-owned small business. And I used to get calls and have conversations with veteran-owned small businesses that said, hey, I'm a veteran. What's wrong with giving the award directly to me? Why do I have to always be service disabled? So what happened was, Supreme Court decided that not only are we going to be able to go directly to service disabled veteran-owned small businesses, we can also set aside our requirements for veteran-owned small businesses. So that has been really great. However, it comes with some pain. So now when you go for your what we call VIP certification, your service disabled veteran certification, it's going to take a little longer because there's a lot of people now that want to be service disabled veteran-owned small businesses. So it is taking a little bit of time. You just really have to do your homework. You really have to, when you're ready to cross that line, you have to have all that documentation ready. Adapt into small business climate. Okay, Kingdomware is also called the Rule of 2. So in order for us to set aside for veteran-owned small business or service disabled veteran-owned small business, we have to have 2 companies that we know can do it. Now keep in mind, we still have the U.S. authority to go directly to a service disabled veteran-owned business. I can still go directly to you, but with the Rule of 2, I need to go and now I need to expand my market research. So they want us to go out and look for 2, not just 1 anymore. We want increased competition. So, and again, it heightens our market research. So it takes a little longer for us to award sometimes because we're doing a more, I'll say, thorough research. The days of going to GSA as a mandatory source is gone. Gone. So you don't need to be a schedule holder any longer. Now, that's not to say it doesn't help sometimes, but again, the thing of it is, the key is it's not a mandatory source. So now you have a better, leverage to fight. I tell most of my people here in the area, and it's different, spread across the VA, but we do put a lot of things on on FBO, Fed Biz Ops. So, and we solicit unrestricted. So it might be a set aside, but it's not on eBuy. So everybody can see it now. So you have that fair opportunity that you didn't have before because you were fighting with schedule holders. So schedule holders can still play, but they have to play fair and they have to put in a proposal just like you do. So the advantage that you have, be verified. The first thing my team looks is that when you call them, they're going to check the VIP database to make sure that you are a certified, certified service disabled veteran-owned small business, or veteran-owned small business. We look at FBO, make sure what we got in there. SAM, got to be registered SAM. We're going to check SAM 2 or 3 times. We're going to check VIP 2 or 3 times because sometimes you might be working on your certification and you're almost there and you're just waiting for that letter to come in the mail. You've already done everything. So when we first look out there that you're not certified, but you know of any day now. So what we try to do is before we actually do the award, we actually look out there. So in regards to FBO, make sure you have your alerts coming to you, to your email. I'll tell you though that some people say, well, you know, I've been looking on FBO. FBO is great. Look at FBDS. Okay, if you know, if you have your established niche, know what contracts are coming up. So if you go to FPDS, you know who your competitors are. You know what contract that they got, when they got it, how much it was for, and when it's up for renewal. So instead of worrying about getting an FBO alert, know what your customer is getting ready to do. Know that your customer is getting ready to put out that solicitation. You can expect it in 6 months. I get people call my office. Somebody called today and said, wait a minute, when is that coming out? You know, because they know, they've done their homework. They know what we're buying. They know when it's on schedule, as far as the timeline, when it's coming up for renewal. So know those kind of things ahead of time, because those are the things that's going to give you the advantage. Sitting there at your computer every day just looking for FBO, searching the next code, that's not going to get you ready. Respond to sources sought. We send them for a reason, because we want to know who's out there. I personally tell my people, we have history. Don't waste your time if we already have the acquisition history asking who's going to do it or who can do it. But if we ask you for it, please send it back to us, let us know that you can do it. Because sometimes we honestly don't know. We have new requirements in the healthcare industry every day that we've never bought before. Has anybody ever heard of our small business engagement or been there? We have our next one, December 5th through the 7th in St. Louis. These can be overwhelming. If you haven't really maneuvered the city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia's events, make sure before you go here, you talk to somebody, because you're going to get overwhelmed, because if you're not used to the networking. Normally contracting is there. Unfortunately, we're excluded this year, but my program manager partners for the network will be there. It's full of information, but again, it can be a little difficult to maneuver, especially again, if you haven't maneuvered in the local area. And I'll tell you, you've got to maneuver in this local area, because I meet and greet everybody, so many people in the state, that when I go here, people always give me their result. I met you at this event. Well, when I met you, I was here. But now that I'm before you today, I am here and I am procurement ready and I'm ready to go. So I just personally build relationships that I establish locally, so by the time I get to a national venue, you're already talking to me. I already know you. You don't have to worry about that 3 minutes. So, resources, we have the Veteran Entrepreneur Tool, portal, doing business with the VA and procurement readiness, event calendars. Here's some list of resources. And there are so many resources out there these days.
Is all of this available on hand?
I'm sure that it will be, besides being available. So today I brought with me a list of opportunities that are coming up. So it might be a little small to see, but you guys look at the slides and you'll have an opportunity to look at them at your leisure. But again, we've got some things coming up: billing services, mail rooms, some biomed maintenance repairs coming up in December. What we try to do is try to do at least a base plus 4. I don't like doing 1-year contracts. It just takes just as much time, and we don't get to bond. We don't get that relationship, that contracting relationship with the vendors that we need. We've got some IDIQ contracts for A&E heavy construction. Anybody? A&E? We love what we call MATOCs, multiple award contracts. So where we'll get a couple companies to come in, give us a proposal, and say maybe 2 to 3 will actually award. So as work comes available, we'll cut a task order. And the greatest thing about them, we only compete them amongst those people that actually got the award. So I got one complaint from a company in Alabama that says, you're unfair because you're only giving the work to these same companies. That's right, because we sent out, it's competitive. We sent it out, we asked for proposals, and not only did we didn't award to just one, we awarded to 3. So now that they've gotten that award, it's like an exclusive club now, where we're only gonna compete amongst those 3. That's where they're getting us good, because it's continuous work. Anybody have any questions?
On that rule 2,
Yes.
does that mean you have to have one SD or disadvantaged business as well as a veteran-owned business?
Well, what the rule of 2 means that when I'm going to set it aside, I can have one SDVOSB and one VOSB and still set it aside for SDVOSB/VOSB, where nobody else can play. It can be 2 SDVOSBs or 2 VOSBs. What we're finding is we just try to compete everything and go on the open market and we kind of just stay away from GSA. We do have SDVOSB, VOSB on schedule, and that we try to get to them as much as possible. But again, it's a competitive environment, and the days of just going sole source, no, not doing it. I talk to a lot of large businesses. I don't normally meet with small businesses. I have a small business representative who really does that. But I will invite the large business in so they can tell me why they don't have a service-disabled veteran-owned small business distributor. Just tell me why. Because you need them. And so for me, that's my job. My job is to make sure that these large businesses give you an opportunity. Because right now, they don't want to play. They don't want to give you the opportunity. But now we're requiring them to give you that opportunity so you can get that money. But I will say this, with that rule of 2, have come when I said paints. We've got a lot of companies that are coming in as pass-throughs. That doesn't work. be able to do the work. Some people are trying to sit at home with their CPE and trying to get 10 to 15% from the government for not doing a thing. We're looking for that. Well, what happens is, SDVOSB will front for another company, and just for a percentage. We look for that. I get a lot of complaints about that. I don't investigate, I just send it back to VetViz, the people who do the certification. But there's so much of that out there that I just have to tell you, if somebody approaches you with that, be careful, because we are looking for it. The government is not just going to give somebody 10 to 15% just for sitting at home because you've got that nice little certification. You gotta do the work.
Big business right there in the government.
I know what you just said is delicate, I've heard, people leveraging the fact that they're in their instance. But let's say you're starting out, 3-person operation, and you just got certified and everything else. Professionally, I've a history of being able to do the work. And as a company, as a new entity, I don't have the scale. I don't have all the capacity. And so my only option would seem like it is either to be a subcontractor or to partner up with someone who has the capacity, one who never impacted that portion. So yes, I can do the work, but I just can't do all the work.
And that's fine. Partnership is great. I'll tell anybody, please, if you don't have the ability, the capacity, fine, get a partner. But my biggest issue is just the pass-throughs. It's the people that are not doing any of the work.
Then how does a small company that just getting certification get to the point where we can have more than 3 minutes you just spoke about?
Well, come to these events. One of the things, you have to get up and you have to network and you have to meet other companies. You have to come to GCA events. You have to go to the PTech, the Georgia Tech events. There's so many organizational companies out there that can kind of hook you up, so to speak. SBA. SBA has the Mentor Protege program. There's a lot of ways that you can find companies to partner. But in regards to getting in front of me, then you need to talk to my small business representative, and her name is Janice Ellison. JANICE.Ellison, ELLISON @va.gov. Janice.Ellison. Okay. But again, we want you guys to partner up. We just don't want to see the pass-throughs, and that's what I've been seeing for the past few months.
A lot of it is going through Florida.
It's going through everywhere. I mean, it's pretty bad because what's happening is, especially in the construction industry, they're forcing the pricing to increase. I've got an independent government estimate that says that I need a parking garage, and it's going to cost me $8 million. But when I do my bid openings, everybody's at $15 million. No, your SDVOSBs are trying to drive that cost up because they want 15% profit.
Right.
You guys got to realize you're not going to get it. So, you've got to get your foot in the door, but you got to be reasonable. You've got to understand that there's nothing wrong with getting a 3% or 5% profit. The government is not in the business of not giving you your just reward. But some of this pricing, 10 to 15%. It's not fair and reasonable. And everything that we do, when we do an award, we have to determine the price fair and reasonable. And a lot of these large businesses, they're giving us good pricing. But the vets are kind of trying to get the profit. And one of the things I'll tell you is when you partner with somebody, you need to work that out. Because I have SDVOSBs that give me the same pricing as the large businesses. I don't know how they work it out. But those are kind of things that you need to learn, as you get established. Anybody else?
What's the difference, we hear the VA, but what's the difference between the Veterans Affairs and Veterans Administration?
Well, Veterans Affairs is broken up into different organizations. You've got the benefit side, you've got the cemetery side, and then you have the healthcare side. I work for a VHA, which is the healthcare side. So everything when it comes to the medical centers, that's where I deal with. Everything else, it falls under either benefits, which here is at the eligibility center, we call it the HEC, and then you have the cemetery. So everything is not just, we're Veterans Affairs, but we have our subcategories. And VHA is where you go with your health care. And Mike, I'm gonna come see this, I need inquiries.
Does your organization have like scheduled events locally?
Yes. I
Where
have.
we can kind of get our foot wet?
Yes. I cover Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. And one of the things that I was talking with my team here today were industry days. I love to do industry days where we can tell you what our requirements are. You get to come out, you get to meet the program managers. It's not always about meeting contracting, but a lot of times you get to meet the program managers and they can tell you what they're looking for. Yes. I'm usually at every state event, if I could, at least here. I may not always get to Georgia, South Carolina and Alabama, but I'm always here. My small business rep, she covers for me when I can't travel. So even though she's in Alabama, she comes to all the state events as well. So you'll normally see us, when it's anything government, any kind of state or federal government events like that are being put on, you'll always see us. And you guys can always request us. But yeah, we do have a lot of events. Industry days, small business events.
Is it on the website that you have up there?
We don't normally publicize the events that we're going to be at, but you can send my small business representative an email and she'll tell you all the events that we have scheduled. Because sometimes, just like this one, it just kind of pops up, so we don't have it planned for the year. So it's kind of fluid. Anyone else?
If we reach out to her for this, like a first-time contact, can she give us information on any of the RFIs you might have out there or source of salt that might be out there now that we can look at?
Yes. You know Janice. Yeah, she'll give you the information, and if she doesn't give you the information, you can call her.
Not really.
Anybody else? Yes.
For very niche businesses, like my company, Pets International, we manufacture emergency comfort kits for dogs and cats for the local shelters. And we intend to do that nationwide, globally. The question for me is, having such a niche, interesting business, I'm not quite sure where to go first. I do have a contact with FEMA, of course they don't do direct purchasing. So my question really is, where does someone for what we do, where do we start?
Go to fpds.gov, or there's government spending, I think government spending.
USA spending.
You can look there, and it'll tell you where your customers are, who they are, how much they're spending. I love FTDS because I can create so many different ad hoc reports. But it's got a lot of information. So you have to kind of drill down, but those are the two places that I would start. Because you need to know where your customer is and who it is, so you don't waste your time. Yes?
I know this is for vets and all, but I did want to just ask a quick question. Do you ever work with people with other types of certifications, like 8A?
Yes.
Certifications as well?
Yes, we do. I got any hub zones. Because I need hub zones ready really bad. I love hub zones because that's one of the small business, the socioeconomic goals that I normally can't meet. I love 8A because I come from the Navy, so that's, 8A is usually where it's at. But I'll say with veterans, with VA, 8A isn't, more, so, we don't look at 8A as much. We still can go to 8A direct, but it's more going direct to that service disabled. Women owned, I'm a woman, where the women at, One of the things I'll say that it's kind of unfortunate that this year they're taking away, I always make my small business goal, normally for each category except for Hub Zone and 8A. But one of the things that I'm seeing is they're not worried about the women owned business credit too much. And even though I'm a good steward of the government, I still have a problem with that because I have women veterans who can't get their foot in the door. So, they complain. So again, it's just working the system, and we do look for other set-asides, not just SDVSBs.
By the way, this is a hub zone. Office space is available. That is all.
That is so true, because if you're a veteran-owned small business in a hub zone, I get that credit twice. So I need that, yes.
Yeah, I think it's important for first-timers here to know that when she talks about she's been very successful and she reaches her goal, that goal is a minimum. It doesn't say she can't go above that. So just because she's reached her goal in VOSBs, don't think that if you're a VOSB, you shouldn't still be competing because she can award above that goal. That's a minimum threshold they're looking to achieve.
Yes. All about the small business, yes.
So I saw there that there was a performance evaluation for the history of the company. So if we're a newer company and our partner has a lot more performance in the industry that we're in than I do, can we combine our separate performances into the new company's performance history?
If you're gonna form a new company, yes, you can do that. When it comes to your capability, a lot of times you may not have the experience that we are asking for, but you can go to the Small Business Administration and get a certificate of competency that they'll come in, they'll look at your numbers, your finances, and say, okay, they're a good company, you can move forward to.
So if they're going to do that, but we're a new company, so, there's not really any finances there. Would they go through our separate companies?
I'm not sure how they're going to look at it from a competency or capability standpoint. Normally, when it gets to us, you're already formed, or you're doing you've got a subcontractor. Yes.
Yeah, as a small business, the feedback, just listening to you, it sounds like if you're in the category of that gentleman, also me as well, maybe you're a small business, and you're new, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like we can't really help you. And although you said that, you've got a heart for small business, and maybe because I'm so new, brand new, maybe I'm not just understanding it, but I'm trying to figure out, as a small business, you're new as an entrepreneur, really, where do you go? How do you start? And maybe it's the Government Contractors Association, and maybe that's the entry point for companies, may not have an answer, but that's as I listen to everything that's being disseminated, I'm just sitting here saying, okay, so I need to maybe work in private industry first, build up a resume, come back? Is that so?
You don't have to.
I mean,
but-
that's kind of what I'm getting to.
But this is the thing, this is the place to start, right here, and learn from this organization how to move into that market. Because you can be brand new and win an award just like that. You can,
Financial facts.
but you have to have the knowledge of how to go and maneuver the federal procurement process. And a lot of times as contracting officers, we don't have the time to do that because there are agencies and entities that can do that for you better than we can. And this is one place to start. Yes.
And let me just add, what's really important is when, and I'm not putting a plug in for GCA, because I do love it, and just getting involved, really, I can look at coming in and not knowing what I thought I knew, other than having the STVOSP and then learning things, financial capacity, things that I got within a few weeks that I was able to expand what I should have been doing. So in networking here, you got the service disabled veteran-owned business right here that would be ready to network if we could get together and talk. So you become a part of this to meet those kind of businesses. If your mindset is that we're going to go it alone, I'm going to go it alone. I don't qualify here, I'm going to go it alone. And not listen to all these resources and accesses that you would have to partner with, then you're missing something, especially being involved with this. And so take this opportunity to meet the businesses that qualify for that. You may have Hub Zone, I don't have Hub Zone. So we can partner, and then we look at what our past performances are and capabilities and marry them together. It's a way to marry them together. Because if you can show that you've done, that you got the past performance, and you've done A and B, I've done B, and putting them together means that we have C, then we have to articulate it that way, and then be able to stand on it and do it. So it's a way to be successful in what we do.
When you talk about past performance though, okay, so when you're a new entrant and you don't have the business resume, then at that point, are you talking about the personal experience, work experience? Is that what you mean? So how do I get from no business resume experience and you have to get that? Again, GCA may be the place, but even there, the question is still going to remain the same.
So we teach
Yes.
that at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
This is one association.
So I'm going to close out. Can we give Prudence Howard a hand? To address your question, and then a few others had questions about kind of where do I start? How do I figure out? I'm sorry. Yeah. How do I figure out where to start, where my clients are, all of that good stuff? These are all excellent questions, and that's one of the reasons why we here at GCA exist, because we want to answer those questions for you. And what we do is we just serve, our mission is to educate, facilitate, and advocate for you, the small business owners, you, the veteran-owned small businesses, and be that resource so that we can, during our every Tuesday training, we teach you exactly how to build a capability statement, how to apply that information from your past corporate career or your military background and apply that to your business and put it in information in such a way that agencies like the VA is looking for that. So that's kind of what we do here. We teach you how to navigate FPDS. I love that too. That's my favorite go-to resource, but it will eat you up if you don't know what you're looking for. You'll go there and your head will explode. But it's amazing information. But all of those resources are what we kind of teach here at the Government Contractors Association. So to answer several questions, how do you start? You start by becoming a member of GCA. And you can click on govassociation.org/join to become a member. We have very reasonably priced options for membership where you can, for $4.99 a year, become a member. And you have access every Tuesday we're here. The second Tuesday of the month is when we do association meetings like this. But every other week, we have actual training classes where we're teaching you based on a proprietary curriculum that we put together, step by step, how to go about winning contracts.
So if you are just figuring it out, trying to find your client, if you are a brand new business just getting started and you have no past performance and don't know where to start, then we have those tools and resources for you.
Slaps on the head are free.
Yes, and Abe, you heard his story and you heard him early today. He's like the motivator, the orator, and after listening to Abe for a while, you're like, oh my God, I can conquer the world. And what I do is rubber meet the road. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing about it? What are you doing? So anyway, we all have our strengths. So with member benefits, there are several benefits of becoming a member of GCA, and several of those are listed up here. You get access to our training. And I don't have it's down here, and I can't see that. Our Gov Training Vault. This is over 300 hours, people, of training that we've done, that we've recorded and put into this Gov Training Vault. So no matter what part of the country you're in, if you are all the way on the south side and you do not want to drive up here at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday and all the traffic, then you can do the Gov Training Vault. We've got several ways you can access the information, either live in person, via the webinar, or, if Tuesday is not a good night for you, you can do it with the training vault. We've got, like I said, weekly trainings that are accessible to you, access to our subject matter experts. Abe has been in the industry for 10 years. I've been doing this since 2011. We've got Richard, who's the finance expert, so those folks that talk about winning a contract and having to start with credit cards, we know that's a pain point for you as government contractors. I was a banker for 20 years. I remember that person coming in so excited because they won this federal contract, and I looked at the contract and looked at them, and I'm like, this is great. I'm so happy for you, but this means nothing to me. So I understand in real life what that's like. You got 30 days to stand up a contract. So we understand those pains, and that's why we created some of the tools and resources that we have. So access to mobilization capital is a big boon in some of the things we do. We are, like Richard said, a hub zone. So if you get office space here at Origin, then you can apply for your hub zone certification. So there are a ton of benefits that we offer as as an association, and for those who choose to become members. A proprietary curriculum with proven resources. We've helped business owners win over $850 million in contracts. So, if you're looking for where do I start, GCA is the place to start. So, with that said, if you do choose to get started as a member, tomorrow morning we actually have our membership orientation, and it's a free quick start boot camp. And that boot camp would be perfect for you. I'm not sure what your schedule is like, but you will walk away and you will feel like your head is about to explode because it's going to kind of give you, we dump, what is it Mario always used to say? A gallon into a pint. We just give you a whole bunch of information on how to get started and resources and tools. So by becoming a member today, you get to take advantage of the new member orientation that's set for tomorrow morning. And if you are ready to get started, Pamela's in the back, Andrew's in the back, Richard's around here somewhere. Okay. So any one of us can help you get started tonight. And I do want to salute all the veterans in the room, both my mom and dad served. And so thank you so much for your service. We appreciate you, and thank you so much. And if you've got questions, please see us in the back.